All right, so today we are going to be doing a deep dive on something that a lot of folks in tech are talking about, especially documentation specialists and those who work in IT.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, and it's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG.
Yes.
And we're going to be diving into an article by Curt Robbins, who is a senior technical writer.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked for companies like FedEx, Microsoft, a bunch of others. And so we're going to be kind of going through his take on RAG and what it means for technical writing in particular.
Yeah, it seems like RAG is something that people in the documentation world are getting really excited about.
Right, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
So I guess to start off, how would you summarize RAG? Like, what is it in like the simplest terms possible?
I would say it's a way of making AI smarter by giving it access to external information, like giving it a connection to the internet,
Right.
instead of just being trained on a static set of data.
Right. So it's not just like trained on, all the data up to, 2021 or something like that. It can actually access the most up-to-date
Mm-hmm.
information.
Yeah. Like a constantly learning AI.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what are some of the things that really jumped out to you when reading this article by Robbins?
Well, the thing that strikes me most is this idea of documentation that can update itself, which is like a huge deal for technical writers,
Right.
that we're constantly struggling to keep our documentation up to date.
Right.
And if it could pull in the latest information
Well,
from all these different sources and update itself, I mean, that would save so much time and effort.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost, Robbins uses the term dynamic documentation,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it's such a good term
Yeah.
because it really does encapsulate this idea that
Yeah.
it's not just a static document. It's
Mhm.
something that is
Yeah.
alive and breathing and
It's evolving.
evolving. Exactly. So, I mean, before we get too far into like the benefits of RAG, maybe we should just take a step back and explain like how RAG works.
Sure.
So Robbins talks about kind of two main components, retrieval and generation. Can you maybe elaborate on those?
Yeah. So retrieval is the process of actually finding the relevant information from external sources.
Mm-hmm.
And generation is then using a language model to actually create like a readable
Right.
output, like an answer to a question or a summary of a topic.
Okay. So it's like the retrieval is the like finding the right book in the library.
Mm-hmm.
And then the generation is like reading that book and summarizing the key points.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a two-step process.
Yeah.
Now, Robbins also mentions this optional iterative feedback loop. What is that all about?
Well, the way I understand it is that it allows the system to refine its answers based on feedback from the user.
So it's like it gives you an answer and you
Yeah.
can say, well, actually, I meant this, or I need
Yeah.
more information on that. And then you can kind of go back and refine the answer based on that feedback.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because, language is so nuanced and complex.
Right.
And it's hard for AI to always get it right on the first try, so that feedback loop is crucial for improving accuracy and relevance.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's learning as it goes.
Yeah, it's continuously learning.
Which is really interesting. So, okay, so we've talked about like what RAG is and how it works at a very high level.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like why this matters for us,
Mm-hmm.
for technical writers, for documentation specialists, for people in IT. What are the real benefits here?
Well, I think one of the most obvious benefits is just like the time savings, right? Like if we can automate some of those really tedious tasks like updating documentation
Right.
or, finding the right piece of information from a huge knowledge base,
Yeah.
that frees up our time to focus on more strategic, more creative tasks.
Right. So it's not just about like replacing humans. It's about making us
Yeah.
more efficient.
Yeah, it's about augmenting our capabilities,
Yeah. Yeah.
like making us better at what we do.
So it's like if you think about like a construction worker, it's not about replacing the construction worker with a robot. It's about giving the construction worker power tools
Exactly.
to make them
Better tools.
better tools. Yeah. So, I mean, is that kind of the main benefit, or are there other things that really stand out?
Well, I think another big benefit is just the potential for improved accuracy because RAG has access to all this up-to-date information. It can ensure that the documentation is always accurate and consistent,
Right.
which is something that's really hard to do manually, especially when you're dealing with complex systems that are constantly changing.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that Robbins really emphasizes in his article is that like this is not just about,
Yeah.
making things look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like the core of documentation is about accuracy.
Yeah.
And if it's not accurate, it's worthless.
It's useless.
It's useless, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, and it also has implications for things like compliance and legal requirements, where you need to make sure that your documentation is up to date with the latest regulations.
Yeah.
So RAG can really help with that as well.
Okay. So we've got like time savings, we've got accuracy. What else is there?
Well, I think another really important benefit is just the improved user experience. Because if you can create documentation that's more dynamic, more interactive, more personalized, that makes it easier for users to find the information they need
Right.
and to understand it and to actually use it effectively.
Right. It's not just about like having a PDF that's, 500 pages long
Right.
that nobody ever reads.
Yeah, it's about creating an experience that's actually helpful and engaging.
Right. So, I mean, I'm starting to see why people are so excited about RAG. But is this all like theoretical, or
Yeah.
are there real world examples of RAG already making a difference?
Oh, yeah. There are definitely real world examples. Have you ever used like those ChatGPT plugins?
Yeah, actually I have.
Okay, so
I use them for research sometimes.
yeah, so those plugins are actually using RAG behind the scenes
Oh, wow.
to retrieve information from the internet
Oh, okay.
and feed it into ChatGPT so that it can give you better answers.
So I didn't even realize I was using RAG.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden in plain sight.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then there's also things like Microsoft Copilot, which is that AI assistant built into Office, that's also using RAG to pull data from different systems,
Okay.
like your CRM or your company's internal databases.
So it's not just like a research tool. It's something that can be used in
Yeah.
real world applications.
Yeah, it's being integrated into all sorts of products and services.
Wow. Okay. And then there's Robbins also mentions this haystack framework. What's that all about?
So that's more for developers who want to build their own custom RAG systems.
Okay.
So it's not just for like using off-the-shelf tools. You can actually build your own RAG-powered applications.
So it's kind of like there's a whole ecosystem
Yeah.
building up around RAG.
Yeah, it's a whole new field of AI development.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of potential here. But Robbins does mention some challenges and things to consider.
Yeah.
So what are some of the potential downsides of RAG?
Well, one thing that he emphasizes is the importance of data quality. Because if the information that RAG is pulling from is inaccurate or outdated,
Right.
then the output is going to be garbage.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, exactly.
So like how do you ensure data quality when you're dealing with all these different sources?
Well, that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of careful planning and management. But there are techniques and tools that can help.
Okay.
Like data validation, data cleaning,
Right.
having clear data governance policies.
Right. Right.
So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. So it's not just like a magic bullet. You have to you have to actually put in the work.
Yeah, you have to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what else? What other challenges are there?
Well, another challenge is just the complexity of implementing RAG, especially for organizations that don't have a lot of technical expertise.
Right.
It requires a lot of specialized knowledge and skills.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a bit of a learning curve.
Right.
But luckily, there are, resources and tools available to help.
Okay. So it sounds like, there's a lot of potential here, but it's not a plug and play solution.
It's not a silver bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It requires some effort.
Yeah. But even with those challenges, I think the potential benefits are pretty compelling.
Yeah, I think the potential is huge. It's really interesting to think about how RAG has evolved. It wasn't that long ago that AI was stuck in this kind of static phase. Like, it could only work with the data it was trained on.
Right. It's like it knew a lot, but it couldn't really learn anything new.
Exactly. And Robbins talks about this shift from static to dynamic models.
Right.
And it seems like retrieval was really the key to unlocking that dynamism.
Yeah. It's like before RAG, it was like having an encyclopedia that was like stuck in time.
Right.
And then RAG comes along and it's like, oh, now we have like a constantly updating.
Yeah, like a Wikipedia that's constantly being updated.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And that's what makes RAG so powerful, because it can actually adapt to new information and new situations.
So RAG kind of brought the dynamic part to the party.
Yeah.
But Robbins also talks about how the retrieval part itself has gotten a lot more sophisticated. What does he mean by that?
Well, early retrieval techniques were pretty basic, like they just relied on keyword matching.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're talking about things like vector similarity search.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me.
Sure. So imagine you have a huge library of documents, right?
Yeah.
And you want to find the ones that are most relevant to a specific query.
Mm-hmm.
Vector similarity search basically creates a map of the meaning of each document.
Okay.
And it converts words and concepts into these things called numerical vectors.
Okay.
So words and concepts that are similar in meaning will have vectors that are close together in this map.
So instead of just looking for matching words, it's actually trying to understand the meaning behind the text.
And this is where neural network embeddings come in, which are a way to create these vectors that capture the nuances of language in a way that traditional methods just couldn't.
Okay, so if I'm searching for documentation on a specific error code, RAG can find information even if those exact words aren't in the document, because it understands the concept.
Exactly, yeah.
Ah, okay.
And that's a huge leap forward in terms of accuracy and relevance.
Yeah, it's like having a search engine that can actually read between the lines.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So all these advancements in retrieval mean that RAG can now connect to all sorts of different knowledge bases, not just like traditional databases, but also things like wikis, online forums, even those specialized knowledge graphs you mentioned before.
Right. And that just opens up so many possibilities for what you can do with RAG.
Right, because it's not limited to just one type of information. It can pull from all these different sources.
Yeah. And that makes it incredibly versatile and powerful.
So we've gone from static encyclopedias to a dynamic system that can access and understand information from a vast range of sources.
Yeah.
What's next? Where's RAG headed?
Well, Robbins talks about some really exciting developments, like multimodal RAG.
Okay, multimodal RAG.
Yeah, and this is where things get really futuristic.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So multimodal RAG goes beyond text and starts working with images, audio, and other types of data.
Wait, so you're saying RAG could potentially understand a picture
Yeah, that's the idea.
or like a piece of music?
It's still early days, but researchers are working on systems that can, for example, take an image as input and generate a textual description of what's in the image.
Wow.
Or vice versa.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the possibilities for documentation. Like
Yeah.
you could have diagrams that explain complex concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have virtual assistants that can guide users through a process using both visual and verbal cues.
Exactly. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
Okay. Robbins also talks about enhanced searchability.
Right.
How does RAG improve that?
Well, with RAG, the search engine actually understands the meaning behind the query, so it can return much more relevant results.
So even if the user doesn't use the exact right keywords, RAG can still figure out what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's like having a search engine that can read your mind.
Okay, so we've talked about how RAG can help us update documentation, make it more interactive, and improve searchability. But what about the content creation process itself? Does RAG just like magically write the documentation for us?
Well, I wish it were that easy.
Yeah.
But RAG can definitely help streamline content creation in a few key ways.
Okay, I'm all ears.
For one thing, it can help automate certain aspects of the writing process.
Like what?
Like generating summaries of complex information, drafting boilerplate text, or even creating entire sections of documentation based on predefined templates. And it can also be incredibly helpful for research.
Okay.
Imagine being able to quickly gather information from a variety of sources like code repositories, API documentation, internal wikis, without having to manually search through each one.
That would be amazing. I spend way too much time doing that.
Yeah, and with RAG, you can just ask a question in plain English, and the system will find the relevant information for you.
Wow.
So it can save you a ton of time and effort.
Okay, so RAG can help us write better documentation faster.
Yeah.
But how does it improve the experience for the end users?
Well, as we've touched on, it allows for more accurate, timely, and personalized answers to their questions.
Right.
Imagine a help system that can provide step-by-step instructions tailored to the user's specific problem or context.
Robbins talks about how RAG can break down silos between teams.
Okay.
Imagine engineers, product managers, marketing folks, and support staff all having access to the same centralized knowledge base powered by RAG.
Yeah, that would be amazing for communication and collaboration.
And because RAG is so good at finding and connecting information, it could help teams identify patterns, discover insights, and make better decisions.
We're moving from this model where documentation is an afterthought, something you tack on at the end, to a model where it's an integral part of the product development process.
Right, like it's evolving and improving right alongside the product itself.
Exactly. And that's huge for technical writers. Like,
Yes.
our roles are becoming even more important.
Right.
Because we're becoming curators of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We're shaping how information is accessed, understood, and used within our organizations.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on not just RAG,
Mm-hmm.
but on the future of technical communication as a whole.
Me too.
And on that note, we'll bring this deep dive to a close.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of retrieval augmented generation.